I didn't say anything. I sat in my corner office on the 42nd floor of Morrison and Hayes, watching the Chicago skyline fade into dusk, my chamomile tea growing cold on the mahogany desk. My phone had been buzzing for the past hour. 18 missed calls from my cousin Brittany. 12 text messages, each more frantic than the last. But I just sat there, perfectly still, watching the city lights flicker on one by one. The silence felt earned. Let me back up. My name is Rachel, and I'd been practicing law for 11 years. The first 7 were brutal. I'd started as a junior associate at a mid-sized firm in Lincoln Park, working 100-hour weeks, surviving on vending machine coffee and the desperate hope that one day, it would all mean something. While my family gathered for Sunday dinners and holiday celebrations, I was buried in case files, depositions, and discovery documents. How's the lawyer thing going? That's what my Aunt Linda always asked. The lawyer thing, as if 11 years of my life, including 3 years of law school and passing one of the hardest bar exams in the country, was just a hobby I'd picked up, a phase. Brittany was her daughter. 26, beautiful in that effortless way that came from never having to work too hard for anything. She'd bounced between marketing jobs, each one somehow more glamorous than the last, though none seemed to last more than 18 months. But at family gatherings, she was the star. The success story, the one who had it all figured out. I was just Rachel, still single at 33. Still married to her work. Still showing up to Thanksgiving in the same black pantsuit I'd worn to the office that morning because I'd billed 14 hours before the turkey was even carved. You should try working somewhere that values work-life balance, Brittany had said to me last Christmas, her perfectly manicured hand resting on my shoulder with something that might have been pity. I could never sacrifice my whole life for a career. I'd smiled. Nodded. Said nothing. That was 4 months ago. Before everything changed, Morrison and Hayes wasn't just any law firm. It was the kind of place that made national news, that represented Fortune 500 companies, that had a 92% win rate in federal litigation. Getting a job there was like winning the lottery, making partner. That was like winning it twice. I'd made partner at 32. The youngest in the firm's history. But I hadn't told my family. What would have been the point? So they could ask if it came with better hours. So my aunt could wonder aloud when I'd finally settle down and start a real life. No. I'd kept it to myself. Moved into my new office with the skyline view and the door that actually closed. Hired an assistant. Started leading cases instead of just supporting them. And I'd said nothing. Then, 3 months ago, Brittany called me. Actually called, not texted. That should have been my first warning. Rachel. Oh my God, you'll never believe it. Tyler got a job at this incredible law firm. Morrison and Hayes? Have you heard of them? I'd been standing in my kitchen, still in my work clothes, heating up leftover Thai food. I'd frozen, the microwave humming in the background. I've heard of them, I'd said carefully. He's so excited. It's like one of the top firms in Chicago. He starts in April. Junior associate position, but Rachel, the starting salary is insane. 6 figures. Can you believe it? I could believe it. I'd signed off on the hiring budget. That's great, Britt. I'm happy for him. We should all get together. You could give him advice, you know, since you've been doing the lawyer thing for a while. He'd probably love to pick your brain about surviving at a big firm. The lawyer thing. There it was again. Sure, I'd said. Whenever works. That dinner was scheduled for tonight. Sunday, April 6th, Tyler started tomorrow. I'd spent the past 3 months watching it play out like a slow-motion car crash. Brittany's Instagram posts about her brilliant boyfriend and his amazing new career. Her LinkedIn updates celebrating his success. The family group chat where everyone congratulated Tyler on landing such a prestigious position. You should introduce Tyler to some of your colleagues, my mother had texted me privately. Maybe they could help him network. I'd stared at that message for a long time. My mother didn't know I was a partner. Didn't know that I was the one who'd sat in on Tyler's final interview, though I'd been just another face in the conference room to him. Didn't know that I'd actually advocated for hiring him because his work samples were solid, his recommendations were strong, and he seemed genuinely passionate about corporate law. I'll see what I can do, I'd replied. The dinner reservation was for 6:30 at Gibson's, the steakhouse on Rush Street where my family went for special occasions. I'd driven myself, arriving exactly on time in my Audi A6. Not flashy, but not cheap either. My Aunt Linda had raised her eyebrows when she saw it. "Business must be good," she'd said, in that tone that implied the opposite. "It's fine," I'd replied. Tyler was already there, sitting next to Brittany, his arm around her shoulders. He was handsome in a generic way. Clean-cut, friendly smile, firm handshake when I arrived. The kind of guy who'd probably played lacrosse in college. "Rachel. So good to finally meet you. Brittany's told me so much about you." I'd smiled. "All good things, I hope. She said you work in law too." "That's great. Maybe we'll run into each other sometime." "Maybe," I'd said, sliding into my seat. The dinner had been exactly what I'd expected. My aunt dominated the conversation, asking Tyler about his law school experience at Northwestern, his internships, his career goals. He'd answered everything with an earnest enthusiasm that I remembered having once, before it got beaten out of me by 70-hour work weeks and partners who screamed at associates for missing a comma in a brief. "Morrison and Hayes," my Uncle Robert had said, nodding appreciatively. "That's a real firm. Not like these small operations." I'd taken a sip of my wine. "Rachel works at a smaller firm, don't you?" Brittany had asked, her voice sweet. "Something in Lincoln Park." "I did," I'd said. "I moved firms." "Oh? Where to?" I'd cut into my steak. "Downtown." "Which firm?" "A bigger one." Brittany had frowned slightly, but Tyler had jumped in, excited to talk about his new job. "The office is incredible. 42nd floor, Lake Michigan views. I got a tour last week when I came in to sign my paperwork. They've got a whole floor just for the partners. The senior partner offices are insane. Corner offices with full skyline views." "Have you met any of the partners yet?" my mother had asked. "Not really. I met a few during my interviews, but it was pretty quick. There's 20 partners at the firm. I'm starting in the corporate litigation division, so I'll be working under one of the senior partners there. I think her name is Harrison? Henderson? Something like that." "Harrison," I'd said quietly. Everyone had looked at me. "What?" Brittany had asked. "The partner's name. It's Harrison. Rachel Harrison." Tyler had nodded. "Yeah, that sounds right. You know her?" I'd smiled slightly. "We've met." The conversation had moved on. Brittany had started talking about wedding plans, even though Tyler hadn't proposed yet. My aunt had asked when I was going to find someone. My uncle had made a joke about me being married to the law. I'd excused myself at 8:30, claiming I had an early morning. Which was true. I did have an early morning. Tyler's orientation started at 9, and the welcome breakfast for new associates was at 8:30. In the parking garage, Brittany had caught up with me. "Rachel, wait." I'd turned. She'd been standing there in her designer dress and heels, looking at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure. Why didn't you tell everyone you moved firms?" I'd considered the question. "You didn't ask. She'd paused. "I know we've never been super close. And I know Mom can be a lot sometimes, with the whole success thing. But you could try, engaging more. Being part of the family." "I'm part of the family, Britt. You know what I mean. You sit there all quiet, like you're too good for us or something. Tyler's going to be at this amazing firm, making a real difference, and you could be happy for us. Support us. Instead, you just sit there judging." I'd unlocked my car. "I'm not judging anyone." "Then what are you doing?" I'd looked at her. Really looked at her. At 26 years old, with everything handed to her, she genuinely believed I was the problem. That my silence was judgment instead of self-preservation. "I'm protecting myself," I'd said finally. "Good night, Brittany." I'd driven home, taken a long shower, and laid out my clothes for the morning. Black theory suit, white silk blouse, understated jewelry. The armor I wore every day. Now, sitting in my office as the sun set, I thought about tomorrow. Tyler would arrive at 8:30 for the breakfast. He'd meet the other new associates. They'd give him his building access card, his laptop, his orientation packet. And at 9:30, he'd have his first official meeting. With me. My phone buzzed again. Brittany. Rachel, why aren't you answering? Tyler said something weird at dinner about knowing his supervising partner's name and Mom thinks maybe you're friends with her. Can you put in a good word for him? Please? This job means everything to him. Call me back. I didn't call back. Instead, I finished my tea, now completely cold. I reviewed Tyler's file one more time. His law school grades were excellent. His writing samples showed promise. His references had been glowing. On paper, he deserved to be here. What happened next would be up to him. I left the office at 7, drove home to my condo in the South Loop, and slept surprisingly well. The next morning, I arrived at the office at 7:30. My assistant, Maya, was already there, setting up the conference room for the orientation breakfast. Morning, Rachel. Ready for the newbies? Always am. We've got 4 this time. 3 from Northwestern, 1 from University of Chicago. All top of their class. Tyler Richardson is one of them, right? Maya checked her list. Yeah, Northwestern. Why? Just curious. I sat in on his interview. At 8:30, I made my way to the conference room. The new associates were already there, looking nervous and excited in their fresh-pressed suits. Tyler saw me first. Hey. Rachel, right? From dinner last night. That's right. What are you doing here? I work here. His face brightened. Oh, cool. What department? Corporate litigation. No way. That's where I am. Are you an associate too? I smiled. Something like that. Excuse me. I moved to the front of the room. The managing partner, James Morrison, was already there, ready to give his welcome speech. He saw me and nodded. Rachel, good to see you. You ready? Always. James addressed the room. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morrison and Hayes. I'm James Morrison, managing partner. You're here because you're the best of the best, and we expect nothing less than excellence from each of you. The new associates nodded, drinking it all in. You'll each be assigned to a supervising partner who will oversee your development for your first year. They'll assign your cases, review your work, and determine your progress. Learn from them, respect them, and for God's sake, don't make them regret hiring you. A nervous laugh rippled through the room. Tyler Richardson, Allison Wu, Christopher Mills, and Jennifer Park, you 4 will be in corporate litigation, which means you'll be working under our head of that department. She's brilliant, she's tough, and she doesn't suffer fools. You're lucky to have her. He gestured to me. Rachel Harrison, would you like to say a few words? The room went silent. Tyler's face went through several colors. White, then red, then a sort of grayish pale that suggested he might be sick. I stood up, smoothing down my suit jacket. Good morning. As James said, I'm Rachel Harrison. I've been with Morrison and Hayes for 4 years, made partner last year, and I now head our corporate litigation division. I'm looking forward to working with each of you. My expectations are high, but fair. Meet them, and we'll get along fine. Don't, and we'll have problems. Any questions? Silence. Tyler was staring at me like I'd just sprouted a second head. No? Great. Tyler, Allison, I'd like to see both of you in my office after this meeting. We'll discuss your first assignment. After James finished his remarks and dismissed everyone, I walked back to my office. Maya was waiting with my coffee and a knowing look. That one kid looked like he was going to pass out. Tyler. Yeah. You know him? He's dating my cousin. Maya's eyes widened. Oh, this is going to be good. Tyler appeared in my doorway 5 minutes later, alone. Allison was smart enough to give us a minute. Rachel. I had no idea. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. Sit down, Tyler. He sat. He looked like a kid called to the principal's office. I need you to understand something, I said, keeping my voice level. What happens in this office is separate from whatever happens at family dinners. You were hired because you're qualified. You'll keep this job if you do good work. That's it. Nothing to do with Brittany. Nothing to do with my family. Are we clear? Yes. Absolutely. Why didn't you say something? Last night, when I was talking about the firm, about the partners, you didn't ask. But Brittany, your family, they don't know. That's not your concern. He ran a hand through his hair. This is so weird. I told Brittany all about how I was working under this partner named Harrison, and she said you might know her, and I said maybe we'd run into each other. Tyler, I cut him off. I need to know if you can handle this. If having me as your supervising partner is going to be a problem, tell me now, and I'll reassign you to another partner. But if you stay in my division, this stays professional. Do you understand? I can handle it, he said quickly. I swear. This is just unexpected. Life usually is. My phone started ringing. Brittany's name flashed on the screen. Tyler saw it too. You should probably answer that, he said weakly. Not during work hours. I let it go to voicemail. Now, let's talk about your first assignment. We're representing a pharmaceutical company in a patent infringement case. I need you to review the discovery documents and prepare a memo on potential defenses. I'll need it by Friday. This Friday? That's 4 days. Problem? No. No problem. Good. Allison will be working on the same case. You can collaborate, but I want individual memos from each of you. I need to see how you think, how you write, how you analyze. This is your chance to show me you belong here. I won't let you down. I hope not. I handed him a thick folder. Everything you need is in here. Discovery documents are in the shared drive. If you have questions, ask. But ask smart questions. I don't have time to hold your hand. He took the folder, still looking shell-shocked. Rachel, I just want to say, thank you for advocating for me. Brittany mentioned you might have put in a word. I didn't advocate for you because of Brittany. I advocated for you because your work samples were solid. That's it. Right. Of course. He stood up. I should get started. You should. He left. Allison came in 5 minutes later, much more composed. We had a professional, efficient conversation about the case, and she left with her assignment clearly understood. My phone had 7 new voicemails. All from Brittany. I deleted them without listening. The day progressed normally. I had a conference call with a client, reviewed briefings for 2 upcoming cases, had a working lunch with another partner to discuss a potential new client. At 4 o'clock, Maya buzzed me. Your Aunt Linda is online too. I closed my eyes. Tell her I'm in a meeting. She says it's urgent. Family emergency. Of course she did. I picked up the line. Aunt Linda. Rachel Harrison. Her voice was shrill. What on earth is going on? Brittany called me hysterical. She says Tyler came home for lunch and told her you're his boss? That you're a partner at his firm. Is this some kind of joke? No joke. I'm a partner at Morrison Hayes. Have been for a year. And you didn't think to mention this? To your own family? It didn't come up. Didn't come up? Rachel, we ask you about work all the time. You ask about the lawyer thing. You've never asked about my title, my position, or anything specific about my career. You've never seemed particularly interested. That's not fair. We care about you. I'm sure you do. But this conversation isn't appropriate during work hours. I have a meeting in 5 minutes. Brittany is upset. She thinks you made Tyler look like a fool. She thinks you've been hiding this too. I don't know, to embarrass her. Tyler is my colleague. How he looks at this firm is entirely up to him and his work performance, and I didn't hide anything. I simply didn't announce it at Sunday dinners where no one bothered to ask. Your mother is hurt, Rachel. Then my mother can call me herself. I have to go, Aunt Linda. I hung up before she could respond. My mother called at 6, just as I was packing up to leave. Rachel, honey, why didn't you tell us? Her voice was soft, wounded. The worst kind. Mom, I'm still at work. I know, When were you going to tell us? That you're a partner? That you're doing so well? I don't know. Eventually. Does it matter? Of course it matters. We're your family. We want to celebrate with you. We're proud of you. I sat back down in my chair, suddenly exhausted. Are you? Because for 11 years, you've acted like my career was something I needed to get over. Something I'd outgrow when I finally settled down and started a real life. That's not. We never meant it like that. didn't you? Every holiday, every birthday, every family gathering. How's the lawyer thing? Still working those crazy hours? When are you going to find someone? As if everything I'd built meant nothing compared to finding a husband. Rachel. And then Brittany meets Tyler, and suddenly everyone's celebrating his career. His success. His big law firm job. The same kind of job I've had for over a decade. But when it's Tyler, it's impressive. When it's me, it's just the lawyer thing. Silence on the other end of the line. I didn't realize, my mother said finally. I didn't realize you felt that way. I know you didn't. That's the problem. What can I do to make this right? I looked out at the skyline, the city spreading out below me in every direction. Nothing right now. I need to focus on work. Tyler's my colleague now, which means family stuff is complicated. Can we talk about this later? Of course. But Rachel? I am proud of you. I always have been. I didn't know how to show it. I know, Mom. After I hung up, I sat in my office for another hour, not working, just thinking. My phone buzzed with a text from Brittany. We need to talk. Can you call me when you're free, please? I replied, tomorrow. After work. The next few days were a masterclass in compartmentalization. At the office, Tyler was professional, diligent, and surprisingly good at his job. His memo on the patent case was thorough, well-researched, and showed real analytical skill. I gave him feedback, he implemented it, and we moved forward, but outside the office, my phone didn't stop. Family group chat messages. Individual texts. My aunt demanding explanations. My mother trying to play peacemaker. My uncle suddenly interested in my career trajectory. Finally, on Thursday night, I met Brittany for coffee. She'd insisted on somewhere public, neutral. We sat across from each other at a Starbucks in River North, both of us holding paper cups we weren't drinking from. I don't know where to start, Brittany said. Start wherever you want. Did you do this on purpose? Hire Tyler too. I don't know, to get back at me for something. Get back at you for what? I don't know. You tell me. You've been so distant for years. So cold. And now this. It feels like you've been setting up some big reveal to make us all look stupid. I set down my coffee. Brittany, listen to me very carefully. Tyler was hired because he's qualified. I reviewed his application along with 3 other partners. We all agreed he was a strong candidate. I didn't even know you were dating him until after he'd already been through 2 rounds of interviews. But you knew before he started. You knew at dinner on Sunday. Yes. And you said nothing. What should I have said? Hey everyone, funny story, I'm actually Tyler's new boss. How would that have made anyone feel? She looked away, jaw tight. You made him look like an idiot. You made me look like an idiot. Going on and on about his amazing new job, and you're sitting there knowing you're the one in charge. I made you look like an idiot? I leaned forward. Brittany, do you have any idea what the last 11 years have been like for me? Coming to family dinners after working 14-hour days. Listening to everyone act like my career was cute but ultimately pointless. Hearing you talk about work-life balance like I was making some tragic mistake by dedicating myself to my profession. We were just worried about you. No. You weren't worried. You were dismissive. There's a difference. I took a breath, trying to calm down. And the worst part? I never asked for credit. Never asked for recognition. I just wanted to do my work and be good at it. But even that was too much, because it made everyone uncomfortable that I wasn't following the script you all had written for me. That's not fair, isn't it? Tell me, Brittany, when was the last time anyone in our family asked me about a case I was working on? About an achievement at work? About anything in my professional life beyond housework? She couldn't answer. Tyler's first day, I continued, when I introduced myself as his supervising partner, you know what his reaction was. Pure shock, because even after spending an entire dinner talking about Morrison and Hayes, he never once connected that I might work there. Because you'd told him I was at some small firm. That I was doing okay but nothing special. I never said that. You didn't have to say it. It was implied in every conversation we've ever had about my career. The lawyer thing. The work Rachel does. It's never been real to you. It's never been worth respecting. Brittany's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know. I swear. I didn't know how you felt. I know. And that's what makes it worse. The fact that it never even occurred to you to ask. We sat in silence for a long moment. People moved around us, ordering drinks, chatting, living their lives. The city hummed with its usual energy, indifferent to our small family drama. What happens now? Brittany asked finally. That's up to you. Tyler is a good lawyer. He's going to do well at the firm if he keeps working hard. As long as he stays professional. This doesn't have to be complicated. And us? I looked at my cousin, really looked at her. She was scared, I realized. Scared that the family dynamic she'd always known was shifting. Scared that maybe she wasn't the success story everyone had thought. I don't know, I said honestly. I'm not angry, Britt. I'm just tired. Tired of being invisible until it's convenient. Tired of my accomplishments only mattering when they affect someone else. I want to do better. I want us to be better. Then start seeing me. Really seeing me. Not the quiet cousin who shows up to dinners. Not the single woman everyone pities. Me. The person who built something. Who worked for it. Who earned it. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I can do that. I want to do that. Good. We talked for another hour. It wasn't a fix-all conversation. There were still hurt feelings, still misunderstandings to work through. But it was a start. Over the next few weeks, things slowly shifted. My mother called to ask about specific cases, actually listening when I explained the work I was doing. My uncle sent me an article about a corporate lawsuit, asking for my professional opinion. Aunt Linda was still Aunt Linda, but even she started asking better questions. And Brittany? She was trying. She'd call sometimes just to talk, not about Tyler or his job, but about me. About my life. She even came to watch me argue a motion in court, sitting in the gallery with genuine interest on her face. Tyler settled into his role at the firm. He was good at his job, and I told him so when he deserved it. The awkwardness faded into a professional respect. He understood the boundaries, and he kept them. 3 months after that first day, the pharmaceutical patent case went to trial. Tyler had been instrumental in the prep work, and I made sure he sat second chair. We won. Decisively. After the verdict, as we packed up our materials in the courtroom, Tyler turned to me. Thank you. For giving me a shot. For not holding the family stuff against me. You earned it. Every bit of it. Still. I know it could have gone differently. And Rachel? For what it's worth. Brittany talks about you differently now. With respect. Real respect. I smiled. Good. She should. That evening, my family took us both out to celebrate the win. We went back to Gibson's full circle from that dinner in April. But this time, when my uncle asked about work, he was asking me. When my mother toasted, she toasted both Tyler and me, equally, and when Brittany stood up with her wine glass, she looked right at me. To my cousin Rachel. The best lawyer I know. And the person who taught me that success doesn't need to be announced. It just needs to be earned. Everyone clinked glasses. And for the first time in 11 years, I felt like maybe my family was finally seeing me for who I was. Not the quiet one. Not the workaholic. Not the lawyer thing. Just Rachel. Partner at Morrison Hayes. Head of corporate litigation. Someone who'd built something worth building, even when nobody was watching. And that was enough.